Hey, Bigfoot Society. This is a special members-only episode for Patreon and YouTube channel members. I'm going to let you know this interview gets extremely intense. It's wild. I was just expecting to talk to Ryan about an encounter he had that I saw him talk about on Facebook. I had no idea about his background. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Be prepared for the conversation that follows. Again, for members only, I appreciate all of your support. So let's get on with the show. Enjoy the following 10-minute teaser of our conversation. And if you'd like to hear the entire an hour and 38-minute interview, you can become a Patreon member at patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society or hit the join button on YouTube and become a YouTube channel member. Enjoy.
We were experiencing things, a lot of things that people don't like to talk about, into the paranormal realm of things that scared me so much that I actually changed my research and I stopped for quite some time. And like I said, I lost my father to cancer and he was part of the team. And then the other two passed away, but they experienced some things in the woods. Everything from light orbs to things that shouldn't be there, to demonic entities, to things that, just a lot of things that should not be there that are there. And it took us on this pathway and this journey to we habituated. So I'll say that's one thing we started doing. If people don't know what that is, we were kind of leaving things for them. And we had 2 locations. We were like clockwork. So we set this thing up. So we were going 4 days a week, sometimes 5. It'd be like between 5 and 6 p.m. We'd go to the location. It was a lot of work for like 6 months straight. And we would leave things and they started seeing that and they got to pattern us, it almost seemed like. And they were understanding when we were coming and they would come so close and they would sit on the ridge. Like you could hear them making noises. We would leave, they would come. It took a long time, but I did get some photos of certain things, a game camera picture. I've got a video of one that, was potential. I know what it is, as it stands up, turns around and walks away and stuff. But like I said, it led us down this rabbit hole. We've had multiple encounters, I think over the years, probably a good 6 or 7 visuals of these things. My next sighting during this habituation time was in July of, I can't remember, 16 or 17. But I had gone myself. It was kind of like a cardinal rule. Never go in the woods, take a team member, go do that. But nobody could make it that day. And I was like, I'll be damned if I'm putting in all this research and hard work to miss a day and switch out some cameras and do what I need to do and screw up this research if I'm trying to be congruent day after day after day. And so I went and I took my camera. I went, this is the day that I had an encounter. So I get up on the hill. I'm kind of just talking to the folks. I would always videotape things, share it on my YouTube channel, Western New York Bigfoot, all the platforms. And what I had to do is take my backpack off to change one camera for another. And the camera I used to hold in my hand, I was rolling with it. So I put it against a tree, laid it down. I was telling the audience, the people, hey, I got to set this down. This is what I'm doing. So as I do that, I go back to the tree like 10 steps and I'm changing out a camera that's there and I'm trying to pay attention to what I'm doing. And as I look up, maybe about 75 yards out in front of me, I can see one. And it's like standing there and there's like this, it's like bramble bush, but it's kind of not because it's like more green leaf. And I can see like from its chin up. And it's like looking over it and it's like looking at me. I can see what it's doing. Now, this one, not till later did I understand or feel that it was a female. I couldn't see the breast, but it had more of a gentle face compared to that large one that I seen. It was more gray in the face and oily. Jet black. This one was jet black also. I'm going to guess it was around like 7.5 feet to be able to see over that wall of stuff. And it was just looking at me, it was watching me, what I was doing. Well, as I'm doing that, I seen it and I'm trying to fumble with the camera, hopefully to get the SD card in, hopefully, and I'm looking, I have to take my eyes off of it to see what I'm doing. but within that 30 seconds, when I looked back up, it had moved off. I got the camera ready and I ran back to the other camera, picked that up, and I begin to tell the people, what had just happened, what transpired. And I try to zoom in over there and see what's going on. But it's gone. There's nothing there. And I kind of go back to a big structure that was there, and I'm just hanging out, and I hear a bunch of snapping and popping, and I was like, I'm not going to stick around. I'm by myself. So I head back down off the mountain. So I get in, do my thing, edit my video, put it up for everybody to watch, and a buddy reaches out to me. He's like, "Hey, did you check the background of the camera that you set on the ground?" And I was like, "No, why?" He's like, "Because there's a Sasquatch up on the hill." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" So I go back, I check the footage, and it's really stable and it's really clear, but it's a distant shot. So I had some people zoom it in, and what it looks like is there's a small one on the ground back there, but it's in like a chimpanzee, like one of the young ones. That's kind of what it looks like, more rounded head, but it's like on all fours, and it looks like it's coming across the ground, and you could almost see where it like picks its arm up and puts it to its mouth. And I kind of pointed out in the video, and I was like, it's hard to see, but you can tell that it's there. But then off to the left of this, there's a large subject, and you can see what looks like an arm. Well, I would guess it's its left arm. It looked like it was sitting down, maybe with its back to me, I think. And you see this arm flail kind of goes up 3 or 4 different times like that. And then all of a sudden, it looks like it must grab a tree, and it stands up. It looks like it turns around and stands up, and it's between the two trees like this kind of. And it's looking at me, and I'm probably, I don't know, $125 from it, somewhere in that range, 125 yards. And as I walk back to the camera to pick that one up that was sitting there, the one that's recording it, it sees me coming toward it, and it spins around, and it goes down onto all fours, and it takes off. And you can see that in the photo. And the weird thing is, people talk about the translucency and possibility of it changing colors and doing things and all that. The hair with its environment. It was weird because when the sun hit its back, all the hairs kind of turned white. They looked white, like the whole back was white. So this subject was brown. You could see this one was brown colored. And the thing is, in Western New York, we don't have grizzly bears. So a black bear can be brown potentially, but this didn't look like a bear, the way it moved, the way its hip structure was set back more. It just didn't look like that. We have black bear, but this thing was a lot bigger. You could totally tell. You could see it had the arms. You could just see when it turned. You could see the whole 9 yards. And I didn't know that. So that thing had been watching me the whole time. And I ended up getting the footage of it, but it was a learning experience, and it scared the hell out of me. I was like, they can watch you that easy, and you don't even know it. And I started telling myself, most people don't see these things because when you walk in the woods, 9 out of 10 times, you're not able to just continually scan the woods. You have to look down where you're walking so you don't fall. So then you walk a few, and then you look, and you walk, and you look. But these things are so cunning and so slick at what they do. They know you're there before you even have a chance. It's just, they're amazing creatures. But so we did this habituation thing. Like, I had them 3 encounters. I had some more, but then some weird things started to happen where I attribute it to doing some experiments. And unbeknownst to me, there's another person, Matthew Johnson. He runs his home thing in California. I've talked to him plenty of times, but that's not really my forte. We started doing experiments in the woods with magnets around the tree structures because I for some reason, I came to the conclusion that they're able to use energy either to come in and out of our dimension or to possibly hide themselves or do something manipulating energy. And I fed off the Higgs boson theory. So like CERN came up and found the God particle, the Higgs field, and the Higgs field is everywhere around us. And I started thinking, well, why can't we capture one? Why can't we do this? We know they're here. We're pulling out all the stops, so I went that route. And I think that was kind of a mistake because we started messing with magnets and grounding situations and doing things in the timber and red light and a lot of different things that I think attracted other things that mimicked Bigfoot because they wanted to be invited in per se. So as we're habituating thinking it might have been Bigfoot, it may have been these other entities because we started getting things like lights and orbs and actual black masses through the woods and things that, that shouldn't happen, like being tapped on the shoulder, screamed sounds, things, we used to leave our recorders in the woods and, a lot of times I would catch these little girls talking like, hi, like at 3 a.m. So I knew something wasn't right. And um, the one morning I did catch around 5 a.m., I caught this long sequence, about 7 minutes of audio, which kind of sounds like Ron Moorhead's the Sierra sounds. And I've talked with Ron and Scott about it. And they looked at it, and what they distinguish is it is some type of language because it has morphemes and phenoms. And these are things that are indicative of language. So when they broke it down, they started, telling me, yeah, you have some type of, these Bigfoot were talking, whatever they were saying, we don't know. But it sounded like there was a juvenile that was screaming and yelling, sounded like there was some type of, it to me, being so indebted into the research at the time, it sounded like the larger ones were teaching the young ones how to hunt deer because it sounded like there was a young one jumping around, breaking branches, and then it sounds like a deer gets jumped on. I'm a hunter, so I know what a deer snort sounds like. So it sounded like it was being strangled or all the air was being pushed out of it like this, like multiple times. And then all of a sudden that stops, and then you hear the young one go nuts again, making all these screams and screams and screams. And then you hear like the larger male, there's like a huff. It's like, and then it sounds like, if I had to say from a human standpoint what I think it sounds like he says, go lay down. It almost sounds like golada, like that, but it sounds like he says, go lay down. And then this juvenile moves off. It like leaves and all the sounds kind of stop. And, this is a 7-minute recording. It was really interesting. But anyway, it took us into the paranormal. There was things in the photos, these white faces and mists, and a lot of crazy things that I wish I would have never dabbled with or looked into.